Welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that takes you through the lows of Formula One. Since 2010, the lowest ranked teams driving for little to no glory for the most part. And the last race at Hungary was one of those times. We qualified 6th. We maintained 7th for the early phase, went into the pits, got held, fell to the back, and eventually got our first DNF of the season driving into the pit entry wall, which is something that I think we've all done on F1 games, quite frankly. And to be fair, it was a similar line to what I'd taken all the way through the race, and we just caught the wrong part of the wall. DNF, out the race, destroyed the car. Probably wasn't going to be much better than near the back anyway. I think we were 21st at the time and in our own little no man's land. So it didn't really make a huge amount of difference to what would have happened at the finish. If we'd crashed out from like 4th, then yeah, it'd probably be quite a bit more upsetting. But let's take a look at the standings and see what that did for us. We slipped to 9th behind Michael Schumacher, who had a great 4th place finish in Hungary. Rosberg, our rival, grabbed himself a point and moves on to 90 points, but remains 7th at the top of the title fight. Mark Webber still just ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who's trying to close him down. Hamilton is there in 3rd with Alonso 4th. Massa jumped Button into 5th. As I say, there's Rosberg, Schumacher, 7th, 8th. We're 9th. We're still 17 points clear of Robert Kubica because Renault didn't score in the last round either. Sutil's 11th with Petrov, Liuzzi, Alguersuari, Boemi, Hulkenberg, Kobayashi, Barrichello and Della Rosa completing the point scoring picture. And then it's the rest of the new team guys at the back. Karun Chandok leading the way in that one with his best results on comeback. Heikki Kovalainen, Bruno Senna, Jarno Trulli and our other Virgin Racing car, our teammate Lucas de Grassi, stone dead last. In the constructors, there was no change in position for us, although Force India moved to within 10 points in 7th place, and we're still just 2 behind Renault, who, as I say, didn't score in Hungary. Might as well give Red Bull the constructors' crown now. They are well ahead of McLaren, who are now just 8 ahead of Ferrari. Mercedes on their own in 4th. They'll probably be claiming that position. Mentioned Force India there in 7th. They are now 20 points clear of Toro Rosso, who had a pretty strong weekend with Alguersuari particularly. Out in Hungary, Williams have scored points, as have Sauber. And HRT and Lotus yet to score, and HRT hanging on to the best of the 0 pointers category as it stands. But yeah, Hungary wasn't great. We'd had a pretty decent run of things from Turkey all the way through to pre-Hungary, apart from Silverstone. 2 podiums in Germany and Canada, points in Turkey as well, and in Valencia. And Silverstone, just not somewhere we drive well. It looks like Hungary might be a circuit very similar, where we just don't go very well, but we'll see as the seasons progress. It's not somewhere I've particularly enjoyed driving, but it's time to go somewhere I do enjoy driving, and that is the Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium, the circuit that I think everybody knows and everybody has driven in every type of motorsport. GT3s at Spa, anyone? But we're here in the VR01, hoping to get back on track, really, because it's Monza after this, and pace is going to be our problem there. But let's go and reacquaint ourselves with Belgium, with these cars, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the 2010 Belgian Grand Prix. The legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit was the venue for the 13th round of the 2010 season, and it was Mark Webber who led the championship at this point by just 4 points from Lewis Hamilton, while Red Bull led the constructors from McLaren going into the summer break before this race. This race also marked Rubens Barrichello's 300th Grand Prix. After the summer break, some teams arrived at Spa with modifications and upgrades. Ferrari brought a new rear wing with a modified diffuser and floor. Red Bull altered their brake discs. Renault introduced their own F-ducts. Williams brought new front and rear wings. Force India arrived with a new floor, and McLaren installed a new front wing, but only installed it on Jenson Button's car. As is almost customary in Belgium, the practice sessions were held in mixed conditions. The first session in wet, thundery conditions, while the second and third sessions were wet to dry affairs. Alonso topped the first session ahead of Hamilton and Kubica, with the Red Bulls just 4th and 7th. Alonso continued to top the times in the second session ahead of Sutil and Hamilton, though the session saw Liuzzi lose control of his car and damage his front wing, while Timo Glock crashed his VRO1 heavily into a barrier. The session was also stopped near the end as there were reports of children climbing the catch fencing, which necessitated Charlie Whiting going out in the safety car to assess the danger. Webber managed to top the final session, which started wet, dried, and ended with a rain shower.
Lap. That's the fastest for the session so far.
Qualifying followed a similar pattern, with dry conditions punctuated by showers, which caught some drivers out, including Petrov, who buried his car backwards into a barrier, leading to a red flag during the first session. Kovalainen managed to actually advance to Q2, while the rest of the new teams found themselves out in Q1, De Grassi also making contact with Yamamoto, who was still in the HRT during the session. Continuing their mixed form for the season, both Mercedes dropped out in Q2, while Alonso just about scraped through into the top 10, but could only manage 10th after running wide at the source in the third session. For the 12th race in 13 in the season, Red Bull took pole. Championship leader Webber took pole from Hamilton, with Kubica lining up third in a strong showing for the Renault, while Sebastian Vettel could only take 4th after errors on his flying lap. As the lights went out, Hamilton jumped Webber, who bogged down off the line, the Australian dropping to 6th and battling with the Force India of Sutil, while Button had moved forward and was fighting Kubica for second. Rain began to fall at the tail end of the first lap though, leading to a few drivers to run wide into the bus stop chicane, including Barrichello, who couldn't stop his car and crashed into the Ferrari of Alonso, Barrichello retiring on the spot. Safety car was brought out to recover the stranded Williams, but only for a single lap. The leaders maintained track position, while a few further down the field pitted for intermediate tyres. Once the safety car returned to the pits, Hamilton maintained his lead, but blocked Button after he ran wide at restart, leaving Button to deal with Vettel behind. The battle ebbed and flowed until further rain on lap 16 caused Vettel to misjudge his braking into the bus stop, colliding with Button and leaving the Brit to retire, exposing the radiator and side pod on the McLaren. Vettel suffered damage, managed to pit to replace his front wing, but was also issued a drive-through penalty which shifted him further down the order. The rain fell later on in the race. Hamilton was unable to stop and made light contact with the wall outside of Rivage, but he managed to get out of the gravel and back into the lead. There was further incident near the end of the race as well, when Alonso lost control and crashed out, the car ending up in the middle of the track. Because the Ferrari was stranded in such a dangerous position, the safety car was brought back out again, but it was withdrawn on lap 40 with just 4 laps left, Hamilton managing to maintain the lead to the end, with Webber taking second out of Kubica, while Vettel could only take 15th, just ahead of the new teams, who were once again led by Lotus. What should we be aiming for here then, at this legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit? Well, as you can see, in practice it was wet, and the weather forecast for the rest of the weekend suggests no rain, so I'm not getting a huge amount of information from this session. It's fairly power dependent as a circuit as well, which shouldn't really suit the VR01, and after a very poor Hungarian Grand Prix, I fear we may continue to struggle. I think the best course of action here would be to aim for Q2, and only just. Let's see if we can make 17th place and try and move forward in the race. Into the first part of qualifying here then at Spa, and practice didn't really give us any information at all because we had a wet first session, although the radar suggests there's no more rain to come over the course of the weekend. It said that about practice too, and when we'd skipped ahead through time and were dumped into practice 2 automatically, it was raining, so I'm not entirely sure that the weatherman knows what he's talking about. With that in mind, better get out and try and get some laps in the dry. Let's see what our best lap in Q1 netted us. So into our fastest lap in Q1, which actually turned out to be our first lap of the session. A little wide through La Source. I mentioned at the end as well that there's a lot of traffic, and it may not have been too much of an issue on this first lap, but the rest of the session seemed to get balked by traffic, particularly through Eau Rouge and Radion, which we managed to take pretty much flat. There's a natural bit of drag in terms of speed coming off, and then we just top out at the end of the Camel Straight. A little wide going into Lake Com, which kind of compromises the midpoint of the chicane, and then we just seem to be struggling to get in the grip in so we can get the car turned in. This particular corner down here, always in every F1 game, has been a bit of a pain, just the camber and the downhill. Run a little wide through X, but we're not too bad, and we're able to keep the car pointing in the right direction, having to really lift off leading into Pouan just to stop us getting too wide mid-corner. Down into the chicane again, not really getting the nose in, really kind of struggling to maintain speed, but the lap has been so far pretty tidy in terms of wheel spin, traction bog, anything like that. Heading up towards Blanchimont, it is really just now throttle down until you get to the bus stop. The AI seem to struggle through here, which is where we encountered some traffic as well. We can keep flat through the second part of Blanchimont, which I think has gained us a little bit of time through this session. Nice and neat through the bus stop, not too wide on exit, across the line in just a second, and a decent enough lap.
You're in pole position at the moment. Let's hope you stay there. Good work, mate. We're through the next session.
End of Q1 then, and we just about make it through in 14th. There's traffic proving to be a really big problem at such a big circuit, but we make it through. Seem to be lacking pace. There's a lot of power sections here. Barrichello, Di Grassi, Hulkenberg, Kovalainen, Trulli, Senna and Chandok are out there. That's, I think, Di Grassi's best qualifying position of the season in 19th. De La Rosa just about makes it through with Petrov, Liuzzi, myself, Boemi, Alguersuari, Sutil. And the top 10 includes Kamui Kobayashi, who had an absolutely blinder on a lap. He's ahead of Robert Kubica, and you've got Schumacher and Rosberg, Hamilton, Webber, Button, Massa, Alonso and Vettel up at the top. I think Q2 won't be all she wrote for us in this one, but let's head on over there and see if we can find a lap from somewhere. In the garage then for Q2 at Belgium, and pace has been an issue. It's a very fast circuit and we're not a very fast car, so I feel like Q2 might be our absolute best. If we can try and beat that team objective as well as our own, that would be pretty good. But let's get out there, see what our best lap in Q2 was. And much like Q1, our fastest lap in Q2 was our first of the session. Very much, again, traffic causing a bit of a problem through the rest of Q2 as it did in Q1, which meant we were really unable to improve. But I do feel like this is the maximum amount of one-lap pace that we had. Much like Q1, nice and neat through Rouge and Radion, but we're just losing speed through natural drag up the hill, and we're really topping out at the end of the Camel Straight. Probably 1 or 2 miles an hour less than our rivals, which does make all the difference when it comes to trying to overtake them. A bit cleaner through Lake On than we were in the first session. Doesn't really net us any massive amount of time, as you can see cars up ahead that we've just got to be careful of. Getting all over the curbs there, but a little better on exit than we were in Q1, and through Ix maybe lost a bit more pace than we would have wanted. We've got the car there to the inside of Alguersuari getting nicely out of the way. I feel it compromised me, or at least distracted me at least a little bit into Pouhon. We went a little wide and over the curbs, which are quite steep through that corner. Much better through this particular chicane though until exit. Again, just cannot get the car turned in for some reason. But it's then the run through Blanchimont up to the bus stop chicane. There's not really an awful lot you can do to mess this up unless you completely forget to turn left. Just got to keep the throttle pinned and the steering input nice and steady. Lose a little bit of speed as we maybe get the entry at the point a little too wide and into the bus stop. Kind of get our turning point all wrong, which compromises the second part of the chicane, but we get out nice and neatly and across the line, currently first, but soon to fall back.
Sat in pole position. You've qualified 12th. 12th place on the grid tomorrow.
So that's the end of our qualifying journey at Spa. We make 12th place in the end, which actually is probably about as good as we could get. We made it into the 150s as well, only just, but we made it. We drop out with Liuzzi, Kobayashi, Sutil, Kubica, Bohemian, Petrov, making it through Pedro de la Rosa up there in 9th in the Sabre with Alguersuari's Toro Rosso, Rosberg, Schumacher, Vettel, Hamilton, Button, Massa, Alonso and Webber will be going into the final part of qualifying. But we're out. We'll be heading in to the race next. And let's see what we can do from 12th. Belgian Grand Prix next. Welcome to the garage pre-race for the Belgian Grand Prix of 2010. We qualified 12th in the end, which actually was a surprisingly good result based on the fact that this circuit is predominantly power and we have none of that. The team want us to finish 12th or above. We'll talk about our objectives personally in just a second, but let's take a look at the grid and how they line up here. Mark Webber took pole from Vettel, Hamilton, Alonso, Button, Massa, Rosberg, Schumacher, De La Rosa and Alguersuari made it through to Q3 and finished Q3 9th and 10th as they did in Q2. Then it's Liuzzi, myself, Kobayashi, Sutil, Kubica, Bohemi, Petrov. We all dropped out in Q2. And in Q1, Barrichello, Di Grassi, Hulkenberg, Kovalainen, Trulli, Senna and Chandok dropped out. Best, I think, qualifying result of the season for Di Grassi in 19th. So pretty good going. He out-qualified both Lotus, both HRT and a Williams. So it's pretty good going from Lucas. Seems to be enjoying it around here more than me. And, well, I will also quickly look at the weather. There is a 0% chance of rain,
The report's
apparently.
good. It says that the session will be dry.
As Rob said there, should be dry for the 22 laps of Belgium, which sounds like a shorter race, but it is still 50%. Belgium is such a long circuit that 22 laps will still feel like an eternity, especially considering I think we're going to be spending a lot of our time kind of just trying to defend. We really lack pace down parts of the circuit through like the Camel Straight and into Blanchimont. It's a short run into turn 1, so we might not get too swamped. We might be able to pick up a place or two, but I'm not holding out hope for points unless there's some issues for others. I'm gonna say let's at least try and stay in the top 18 and say 18th is our target, which sounds low and we're starting 12th, but if you look at Hungary, we started 6th and we ended up DNFing, but for most of the race we were down in the 20s. Just through having a lack of pace and getting jumped in the pit stops. So I want to remain very conservative for this race. Let's just see if we can beat Lotus and HRT this time, and maybe one or two others. But enough talk. Into the Belgian Grand Prix of 2010. Red Bull's on pole. Our rival Rosberg in 7th. There we are in 9th, and you can just about see Lucas de Grassi in 19th. A bit further back, great qualifying for him. Far enough away from the lights so that we can't really see them. But away we go in Belgium. And that was actually a decent start. We almost drove up alongside Liuzzi. To avoid incident into La Source. Hulkenberg. And Kobayashi's gone past us. Kubica was trying to overtake us off the road. I did see Hulkenberg's name. There he is. He's just in behind us.
Come on, you've got this guy. Pass him.
I've lost out a bit off the start, but how early do they break into Les Combes? Early enough for me to go around Kobayashi. We run wide and let him back through, but we keep the position. Oh, they're so slow through there.
It's in first place.
Alongside the Liuzzi Force India, and we're right with Alguersuari already as well. Top, those 7 or 8 cars seem to have got away as we nearly go into the back of Alguersuari. Yeah, you're really picking some odd braking points. Is going to just have the legs on me here. Well, they basically just
watch the aggression when you're overtaking. We don't want to lose places because of a penalty.
That was scary. They tend to just stop through Blanchimont. So much so that it looked like everybody had got away, and De La Rosa's back with them. There's opportunity here, I think. That all might have checked out, but I think everybody else is fairly close together. Obviously going to be under threat all the way up the Camel Straight, because I just don't have the legs. Tries to come back on the outside. He won't get it done.
That's 10.
De La Rosa in 9th. He's actually hanging on to the car in front that looks like a McLaren. It's a Mercedes, it's Schumacher. Run the outside through Pouan and get past Pedro De La Rosa's Sauber. Once again, let's go on the attack. A little wide through Blanchimont. Dive up the inside at the bus stop and we're through.
We've moved up into 8th place.
That's Schumacher, that was gone. Close on the McLaren of Jenson Button here.
We can tear this guy. Come on, come on.
Slows through Blancheron. We don't. We can keep it pinned.
Someone's crashed in
Got
sector
the bus stop a little bit
Yellow
wrong.
flag conditions apply.
Bounced off the curbing on the inside of the chicane and span. And we're just kind of a roadblock. Buttons knocked a bit of his front wing off coming through there. Schumacher's gone past them, but we made the move. We were a bit maybe late on the brakes into the bus stop, but we were already past by the time we got there. Schumacher not close enough up towards Lake On. For the disaster class of Hungary, positive result in Belgium would be really well appreciated. Schumacher there is going to come back at us.
The tyres are within the optimum temperature zone. Tyres are at optimum temperature.
Bit more difficult to get away from Schumacher and close up to Hamilton now. 7th though is still pretty good after feeling like we were just going to go backwards in this race. Wide there. That was a bit silly. Looking through Blancheron, as you can see,
Hamilton should be due to pit within the next 2 laps.
Brake check themselves in the second part. Don't have the confidence to just keep the foot in. That means I can just move out the way a little bit. That's already the best part of a full pit stop ahead. That's ridiculous. But we've got cars coming in lower down the field. Try and defend Schumacher, but again he'll just break early into Lake On. A little late into the bus stop, got it all kinds of wrong. Was just trying to keep an eye to see if there was anyone in the pits. For all the complaints about modern F1 games, and there are many of them, at least the UI and the HUD are a little bit easier to navigate. The HUD in particular, I know that somebody was in the pits without having to just wait till I got to the pits to see if they were there. The tyres are clearly going off a bit though, because it's starting to get a little bit loose. Schumacher's in as I get the bus stop all
Pit
wrong.
in this lap. Come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Try and make this a decent in lap so we don't get jumped. Leaders must be pitting then if Alonso's taken the lead, because Vettel had seriously checked out.
Slow for the line and put the limiter on. Brakes on for the box.
That Rosberg had come in as well, the Williams mechanics were out. We're running down the end here.
Exit now. Limiter off. Limiter off.
Come out just ahead of Michael Schumacher. We'll go side by side through a Rouge and Ravion. Done us there, but I don't think for long.
Go for the overtake. Go for the overtake.
Tyres are cold, so we're a bit wide through Lake Calm, but we sweep past the Mercedes. We're back into 7th place. Seventh, I think, might be our best time for this one. I think we're quite quick enough to catch Rosberg up ahead.
For a pit stop. One of their drivers is coming in.
He's pitted. Maybe able to race Hamilton on exit if he's still yet to come in.
Be aware, we'll have waved yellows in Sector 1. Sector 1, waved yellows. Sector 1 is showing a green flag. Racing conditions through Sector 1. The debris has been cleared.
Oh, something has happened. Sector 1, that could have also easily been at the bus stop. Through here. But whatever it is gone. A brief moment thinking actually we might catch somebody, but no, I don't think so. Keeping Schumacher at arm's length at the moment. With him right behind us, it means that we won't retake our position in the driver's standings, but with, I think Petrov is in 9th, and I don't know where Kubica is, but he's not been having a good time of it in the last few rounds. It might be that we take 5th in the constructors. Just got to keep it clean, keep the car pointing in the right direction. There's not many laps left, but they are long laps. Rosberg's in front of us, so maybe Rosberg's picked up some damage. Rosberg and Hamilton now switching places again, so maybe they're fighting. Maybe one of them's picked up damage, and the other one hasn't. But we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. Rosberg and Hamilton right next to each other on track. And wait, Alonso is just leaving the pits. Was it Fernando Alonso that got the damage? And Rosberg's had to check up behind him. Cars behind us in the pits as well. I wonder if some of the AI are taking a 2-stop here. Unless something happens with Rosberg, we're not going to be beating our rival for a second race in a row. As you really sort of expect, driving the Virgin Racing VR01, but such has been our season that we have beaten him on a few occasions.
Lucas is driving down the pit lane. He's in this lap.
Visual Degrassi's 3rd pit stop, 2nd or 3rd. There's 5 to go, which doesn't sound like a lot, but being Spa, it's an eternity. There's still a fair amount of this race distance to go. There's not a massive amount of laps, but it seems like an odd call. He'll be finishing stone dead last, surely. Best starting position of 19th this season. Disappointing day for the other VR01. Outraced us in Hungary, obviously because we crashed out. Outraced us in Spain because we were disqualified, and outraced us in Monaco, but hasn't managed to since, even at Silverstone. He would have finished ahead of him in Hungary if he'd not just put it into a wall.
Lucas has just posted the quickest lap of the race. He's flying.
Not the first time this season one of the backmarker cars is posting fastest laps, and it's that of Lucas Di Grassi this time. I'd assume he's just been in for a fresh set of options and he's just gunning it to see if he can catch anybody. Us on the other hand, a couple of laps left. Fronts are starting to wear, but Mercedes is still just at arm's length behind us. Just got to stay concentrated. There's still enough places on this track that I can move away. There's still enough places on this track that if I get it wrong, we are going backwards. I'll do that with a couple of laps left. So then on to the final lap of this Belgian Grand Prix. We are way behind Alonso, but still just keeping Michael Schumacher at arm's length. We're not going to beat our rival Rosberg, he's well up the road. Considering as we started 12th and had an objective of 18th, because I thought we were just going to go backwards, to be in 7th as we enter the final lap is pretty handy. Had a decent scrap with Schumacher for a lot of this one. Maybe if we'd had a better start.
Kobayashi has just put in a new fastest lap for the race.
Kobayashi now, I guess, has gone in, slapped some option tyres on and is going for it. I think if we'd maybe had a better start, better first lap, made up a couple more places, we might have been fighting for higher honours, but if we can hold it together through the tail end of this long lap, P7 is absolutely nothing to be sniffed at. Sebastian Vettel takes the victory up ahead. I guess followed home by Mark Webber. Maybe Felipe Massa and then Rosberg, Hamilton, Alonso. As we head towards Blanchimont and the bus stop for the final time, we've just got to navigate these last couple of corners safely. Much like Valencia, there was no pace in qualifying really, and it looked like it could be a very lonely, long race going backwards, but we've kept it pretty much clean. And we cross the line, P7 in Belgium.
Seventh place, good job, really good job.
Rob's happy, I'm happy. It's Vettel Massa Webber rather than Vettel Webber Massa. Up at the front, Rosberg, Hamilton, Alonso. There we are in 7th. There's Michael Schumacher. Kubica took 9th. Button took 10th. After picking up damage, coming out the bus stop and finding me just kind of parked there. Barrichello misses out on points narrowly. There in 11th, and it's Petrov, Alguersuari, Sutil, Buemi, Kobayashi, Della Rosa, Senna, Kovalainen, Liuzzi, Hulkenberg, Trulli, Chandok, Di Grassi. And what does that do for the drivers' stand-ins? Well, we remain 9th, but we do get a little gain on Michael Schumacher. We are now just 6 points behind the 7-time world champion. Rosberg breaks into the 100 points barrier, just 5 behind Button. Alonso is now behind Massa in 5th, who's had a bit of a renaissance the last couple of rounds. Hamilton's 3rd, and then it's Vettel and Webber at the top. Just 20 odd points, 25 actually, a full race win between them. Webber trying now, I think, to hold on to take his first world title in our alternate 2010, shall we say. Kubica in behind us, ahead of Sutil, Petrov, Liuzzi, Alguersuari, Buemi, Hulkenberg, and then the single point scorers Barrichello, Kobayashi, Della Rosa, that club getting smaller. Chandok remains ahead of Kovalainen, Senna, Trulli and Di Grassi. In the constructors, we're up to 5th. We jumped Renault by 2 points, which is kind of what I expected halfway through the race. I thought that we were going to jump them. But we're now essentially best of the rest outside the top 4. Red Bull, you might as well give the constructors to now. Ferrari are second, just ahead of McLaren after jumping them today. Mercedes on their own in 4th. There we are, 5th, 2 clear of Renault. Force India 7th, with Toro Rosso 8th, Williams 9th, Sauber in 10th. And then HRT and Lotus round out the standings. HRT still leading that battle against Lotus. If one of them scores a point, the other one's done for, I think. But that was the Belgian Grand Prix, and after the absolute disaster that was Hungary, where we had pace in qualifying but were nowhere in the race and obviously ended up DNFing. Here we had very little pace in qualifying, but we were able to attack early doors and then keep people up behind us, keep them at arm's length. Very much like Valencia earlier in the season and the tail end of Turkey, where we were having to just keep Buemi back. So that's a good result. Next up will be the Temple of Speed before we go to the flyaway tail end of the season, the likes of Korea, Japan, Brazil, Abu Dhabi, Singapore. One more run in Europe at Monza is next. Thank you so much for watching this one. It turned out to end up being a pretty decent one in Spa. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves.